I'll be reading excerpts from my Manga-inspired Comix. This is a re-upload because the sound quality was off in the previous. So, along with the comic book panels. So, first is Stud Creep, weakest of the mightiest. This is the synopsis. The Cubsters, androgynous fairy-like monsters, are given free tickets to the fights. The Cubsters constantly travel the world in their never-ending quest to do good deeds. They arrive in time for the main event, a bout between Stud Creep, the world's worst boxer, and Eyebuster, an undefeated, seemingly unstoppable contender. The Cubsters cheer for the hard luck Stud Creep, though everyone else boos. He's suddenly inspired by the support of the Cubsters, and it enables him to understand what makes his opponent so tough. He has a psychic vision which shows Eyebuster using invisible monsters to overwhelm his intimidated adversaries. Slimy, malformed, serpentine, insect-like demons crawl over their floundering victims, and ghoulish faces lick them, although the hapless boxers didn't consciously realize why they froze before Eyebuster's onslaught. Stud Creep channels higher forces during the fight, and he literally becomes a quantum phantom giant, overlooking and pulverizing the lower level demons of Eyebuster. Stud Creep advances so far in the psychic spiritual realms that he's able to control time itself, making his foe believe that he got hit by a left hook before actually unloading it, like the silent flash before a nuclear explosion. He KOs Eyebuster, and the Cubsters cheer wildly. Okay. Now I'm reading a synopsis of the sequel, The Devil's Avalanche, where Stud Creep is with his scary godmama ninja in the form of boxing Shigri Nina. This is a spiritual love story of sorts. Two MMA cyborgs, psi as in psychedelic, not cybernetic because they're in the astral realms. Boxing Shiguri Nina and Stud Creep catch each other's eye in a gym. They go jogging on their first informal date. Ninja convinces Stud Creep to take on the challenge of the Devil's Avalanche with her. One has to climb a steep mountain while fighting a deluge of monstrous warriors and hellish elements. This demonic deluge is said to embody humankind's collective negativity. No fighter has ever climbed it. More importantly, they don't know why they failed. Understanding the root of all this evil is the key to overcoming it. Ninja and Stud Creep hold their own in the initial stages. The demons come in various shapes and sizes. Some of their forms are so abstract and organic that they resemble shape-shifting blades, projectiles, studded spacecraft, and other weaponry. But the lovers persevere by combining their strengths. Ninja's the indestructible shield in terms of her harsh, element-resistant, golem-like sturdiness, and Stud Creep's the all-thrusting, multi-headed sword in terms of his explosiveness, indecipherable guile, and flexibility. Stud Creep is so attuned to the ever-fluctuating psycho-energetic atmosphere that he literally changes form with every move, according to the anatomical dynamic and function like a malleable, shape-shifting, anthropomorphic machine engineered by organic robotics. But they hit a barrier because more demons attack, replacing them at a pace greater than they can be exterminated. So the lovers retreat upon their realization that the devil's avalanche can't be subdued by one, two, a dozen, 100, even 1,000 people, since it's comprised of humanity's disowned demons. Society has to combat them as a whole and reclaim their illegitimate spirits as angels. Otherwise, the avalanche from below hell will keep growing and growing. Now I'm reading a summary of the mighty Kencat. Kencat is the smallest of the Kennosaurs, an ultra-efficient carnivorous species that went extinct because there were no longer any easy prey among them to hunt, though they could have evolved into a more advanced species had they not been so competitive. But Kencat, because of his diminutive stature, is able to elude their narrow, predatory scrutiny, escaping their doomed world. He stumbles upon a sundial-like time travel device that transports one to another dimension according to how one is aligned with its abstract structures. So it's kind of like megaliths and Stonehenge and kind of like those Mayan structures. One also enters a dimension according to the density and texture of the dimension, like one's reflection taking shape on a particular surface, be it glass, metal, water. One's reflection also merges with other distorted, expanding forms and reflections, henceforth mapping out a particular time field of possibilities. Perhaps this is an ancient predecessor to like astral experiences, psychedelic experiences. So it's might be more of a dream. Kencat finds himself in an advanced neoclassical Tokyo-like metropolis. It is a hyper-competitive city powered by robots and other mecha beings. Kencat, by way of the energetic fluctuations of evolving consciousness, adapts physically to a futuristic environment that's populated by mutants, becoming a highly intelligent, articulate humanoid with distinct feline and reptilian features. Makes you wonder, people here, if maybe they're from another reality or something, or some DNA. He has little memory of his prehistoric past. He prowls around the city looking for work and friendship. But the dehumanized, desensitized souls fear him because of his exotic, iguana-like, jagged gemstone shape, though some cyber beauties secretly have a crush on him. They're too scared to approach such an imposing being. He tries to fit in by learning their ways. He focuses on the abstract, intricate structures called quantum building blocks. These blocks represent various dynamics, intuitions, and actions. They're like interactive, multidimensional hieroglyphics, Rosetta Stones, or mathematical equations, enhancing one's informational intake, but they're useless to him. Suddenly, a giant robot, which acts as a kind of power supply for the city, goes berserk. Its circuit board is ruined by its constant discharge of energy, and the robot god attacks everything in sight, as if blindly lashing out at mysterious tormentors. Nobody can stop it, expert technicians or even the military. It goes after Kencat, but the little Kennosaur doesn't panic. He looks deep within, inadvertently tapping into a higher power by asking the right questions. Though I can't learn from any known system or culture, there must be a far greater esoteric system that's personal, that's ideal for me. He immediately sees a humongous, expanding, amorphous mass of fluctuating energy with a vaguely feline crocodilian shape. It hovers over the quantum building blocks, like a vast cloud leaving the hemisphere to merge with the heavenly elements. It zaps him with slicing, hammering, grinding, blinding rays. For a microsecond, he slashed, smashed, and singed, but he absorbs, internalizes the cosmic blows in such a manner that his robust, asymmetrical physique becomes even sturdier, like a forged sword. He's like a malleable weapon that assimilates or absorbs the blades, hammers, and projectiles in such a way that his armor becomes all protruding and rugged, which, like cooled lava, adds another dense layer to the craggy terrain. His jutting, serrated features become so powerful that they dull the quantum blades and crack the heavenly hammers. Kenkat is now a heavily armored giant monster. However, the giant robot quickly thrashes him about. It moves in to crush the monster, but a small, gently churning puddle appears before the machine, seemingly from nowhere. The machine dismisses the puddle, stomping its way through as it reaches for Kenkat. But that puddle is really super potent acid. The robot screams shrilly as it melts, and that acid is really Kenkat's searing, flailing attack, shredding the mecha to bits. This was psychological warfare at its deepest, since the all-powerful machine had dismissed the puddle of acid as being some unremarkable cesspool, just like it had dismissed Kenkat as being another critter to crush. Missiles, rockets, and other artillery couldn't penetrate this menacing mechanism, except for the ancient, seemingly outmoded claws of Kenkat, last of the Kenosaurs. I forgot to mention I wrote these comics in 2012, supposedly the year of a great awakening. Finally, I'll read a summary of Apocalyptic Utopia. A distant planet inhabited by various gods, devils, aliens, robots, fairies, and other seemingly conflicting beings is nearing its end. These entities decide to let go of their petty differences in order to make the best of the 30 years they have left. As they understand that great damage has been done to their world as a result of their many conflicts. They start a vast social reconstruction project, which includes the participation of even prisoners and homeless beings. The answers to life's ills suddenly seem so obvious upon removing their self-imposed barriers. Citizens work day and night as they convert prison and military facilities and abandoned ghettos into one all-connecting complex that's a cross between a university and mall. Everyone has access to goods, food, education, resources, and shelter. This positive atmosphere of creative work, play, and community is so great that there's no room for doubt or bewilderment. Endless probabilities for chaos are converted into infinite possibilities for self-exploration and creativity. They realized that they had only advanced so much with their conflicting, overly individualistic paths, that they're still distanced from one another, stuck at a spiritual standstill. Further spiritual progress is only made possible in a unified state. Deeper levels of transformative consciousness emerge and they experience symbolic visions. Malignant tanks and armies representing various fears and obstacles, like the cynicism about the possibility of a fairer world, xenophobia, etc., are blown away by illuminating comet-like blows, these comets representing life-affirming forces. Spiky armored, heavily defended fortresses are reduced to transparent, liquid-like surfaces so soft that even toddlers can pass through with no fear of injury. Mighty, majestic palaces and empires become as flimsy as sandcastles. Overcoming these demons enables them to feel a high greater than militaristic triumph. Besides experiencing greater thrills, they receive deeper truths and unlimited stamina because they're not draining each other through competition. This synergistic cycle of profound answers leading to deeper questions, which lead to even more profound answers, allows them to work in a kind of self-sustaining merry-go-round state, like some organic, all-enveloping, all-embracing, shape-shifting mechanism which can change its smaller gears into larger ones according to the stress of the moment. Their heightened awareness enables them to take on many forms, though they don't switch one persona for another false one. They evolve rather than change, still rooted as all of their multidimensional selves are revealed, like an actor who wears whatever makeup according to the role, yet you still recognize the performer no matter the part. During this shift in consciousness, repulsive mutants appear beautiful, higher gods look more down to earth, and human and shiny robots become organic and radiant, like starlit oceans.